Hello. What's up, gang? Wow, it's a big room. What? Hello. Is that it? All right. Thank you. Welcome, everyone. So we're all here for Constantine. Yes. Thanks for coming. So let me get a little business out of the way first. So how many people have watched the Constantine shorts on CW Seed? Nice. All right, great. Well, you've seen 5, right? But Constantine, this project is actually, it's a movie. So there's a lot that you haven't seen. There's at least an hour that you haven't seen. We'll get into that a little bit here. But let me tell you that, as you know, it's produced by Warner Brothers Animation, Blue Ribbon Content, and of course, DC Comics, DC Entertainment. Did somebody boo? Bad vibes, guys. And distributed by Warner Brothers Home Entertainment. And this DVD will be on sale, this Blu-ray will be on sale Tuesday, October 9th, as an Ultra HD Blu-ray combo pack. Exciting. With the 4K version, and DVD and digital, and best of all, rated R. Early on, a few people were like, hey, what about like a PG Constantine? And I was like, that sounds lame. So rated R. So now, let me introduce the panel. Unfortunately, Matt Ryan could not make it because he's doing Legends of Tomorrow. So you got to take the good with the bad, team. There's more live action Constantine, but unfortunately couldn't be here for this panel, so next time. So first up, let me get my list here, is Butch Lukic. He's a producer on Constantine and also works at Warner Brothers Animation. He's worked on Justice League Unlimited. He's worked on tons of your favorite DC animated projects. Yeah, sit right there. Don't sit on my water, Butch. And next, you all know him, you all love him, J.M. DeMatteis, the writer. J.M. has worked on Justice League Dark for us, and Batman and Robin, and also some of my favorite comics. Welcome. Thanks, J.M. Next, he really wanted me to say this, Emmy award-winning character designer, Phil Bourassa. Everything you see here. Do we have any Young Justice fans out there? It's all Phil. Phil is a character designer that, Phil, we probably work the most together on these DC projects, right? How many people have seen Vixen, the animated Vixen? That's Phil. It's all Phil. Phil takes credit for everything at Warner Brothers, guys.
Even if I didn't do it.
And next, Rachel Kimsey. Rachel is the voice of Angela on the Constantine film. Come on up, Rachel. Are you live streaming this right now? Okay. And last but not least, Damien O'Hare, who does the voice of Chaz. Welcome. All right. What was a little, did you have a soundtrack when you came up?
Yeah, that's in my rider.
Wow, that's in your rider? Nice job. All right, well, let's get into it. We're going to watch a few clips, but first let's talk a little bit to the panel. J.M., let's start with you. Constantine. You've written for the character. You wrote Justice League Dark, our previous DC animated film.
And the Justice League Dark comic book as well, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So what is it about Constantine? What is it about this character? And also, Nightmare Nurse, you created that character, did you not?
Yeah, co-created that character as well.
Okay.
Yeah, which is why I snuck her in there, yeah. Because this way I get a residual.
Okay.
You know, when we did the press at WonderCon, I was asking other people that question. What is it about Constantine? And, you know, for me as a writer, I think it's the, I like characters with duality. I like when there's a push-pull with a character. Constantine can be a total bastard, and is often a total bastard. And yet, he always seems to end up on the side of the light in the end. And it's that push and pull, for me anyway, between those two sides of his characters that make it interesting to write, and I hope for the actors interesting to play.
What about you, Butch?
Yeah, what about me? What?
This is going to be a tough interview, guys. When you're looking at the script, after J.M. has the script, and translating Constantine from Phil's character design, I'm working in the whole panel, guys. This is what you do when you're up here. You got to work in everybody on the panel. When you're translating it, how does that work?
Most of J.M.'s script we follow pretty much to the T. It's pretty violent, it's pretty ugly, it's very bloody, and he smokes cigarettes all the time. So.
Nice.
Yeah. Other than that, it's just there was a lot of sequences where we had to design quite a bit of characters and demons, and it's a lot more considering the 5-minute content that we had to split and then add an extra 30 minutes of content. There's a lot of material in there, so it took a lot of work and a lot of people to produce it. So I thank my crew for all of that, for the hard sweat and blood and tears, and Peter for making us do it. But it was fun in the end, ultimately.
I want to watch a clip. You guys want to watch a clip? All right. So the first clip is, again, like we said, Nightmare Nurse. Phil, anything about designing this character?
As far as the tone of the whole thing, I want to kind of piggyback on what J.M. was talking about. I think when you're dealing with a character like Constantine, we do a lot of lighthearted, or not lighthearted, but like, you know, capes and tights characters. So there's something liberating about doing something that's truly dark, but not dark for just the sensational aspect. It's a very dark world that these characters inhabit, and there's something fun and liberating about going there artistically and creatively, like with regards to, you know, it's a different genre in and of itself. So you're dealing with like this gothic, you know, occult noir, which is, you know, it's a different beast entirely from our normal fare at, you know, DC. So it's really fun. And designing like demonic characters is also liberating in a strange way, because we also do a lot of like very pretty, perfect people in the superhero genre. And, you know, there's almost no wrong way to do these monsters and villains. And you have this incredibly compelling, very flawed anti-hero that's leading the whole thing. So just from a creative standpoint, I think for all of us, you get to really take the cuffs off and have a lot of fun.
Cool. Thanks, Phil. All right. Josh, can we roll the Nightmare Nurse clip, please?
awesome.
This movie is not for kids, guys, in case that's clear. It actually gets pretty freaky. Thanks a lot, J.M. Damien, you play Chaz in the film, but interestingly enough, you've also done the voice of Constantine, correct, in Justice League Action?
Correct, yeah.
Which is also a Butch show.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it would be a good idea or fun if we got the two Constantines in animation together. So
That's right.
That's fun.
now they're buddies.
So playing Constantine and playing, like Phil had mentioned earlier, in this noir kind of occultish thing, what do you think about? What do you bring to the character?
Well, I thought in this version it's a lot more, it's a lot darker than the Justice League Action. I thought a hell of a lot more darker.
A little bit.
Considerably. But what I liked about it as well, I mean, there is that darkness and there's that complete fantasy element as well, but it's also really grounded in human emotion. And I love the relationship between Constantine and Chaz. And J.M. obviously put the backstory in that they grew up with each other, and that's how obviously the story starts. Because Chaz's daughter is in danger. Don't know how much I'm meant to say. That's been released though, hasn't it? That part has.
Spoilers.
Spoilers. So there's that great relationship there, and they've been childhood friends and everything, and they've got a great shorthand between the two of them, and a lovely sort of relationship. Constantine favorably refers to him as knobhead all the time, which is lovely. Which is what my wife calls me most of the time as well.
Before the movie or after the movie?
No, just all the time.
Oh,
it's a pet name. But yeah, I just love the relationship between the two of them, and that sort of continues throughout. So even when all this sort of spectacular things are happening and these demons are coming, it's actually grounded in a really sort of normal place, which allows for it to go as fantastical and as dark as you want it to. And it's just, I think it's wonderful. I saw the whole thing yesterday myself the first time, and it's great.
Yeah, in his version of Chaz, he's true to the actual comic book version, more so than any of the other versions. You know, the live action version was, I guess, an American guy.
He was, yeah.
Yeah.
And Chaz is like for me, he's the audience surrogate in a lot of ways. He's the most grounded, real, down-to-earth character, and his emotional need, his relationship with his daughter, is what drives the whole story. But without him, you lose a lot of Constantine if you don't have Chaz for the contrast.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really humanizes Constantine when he's at his worst.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, also, I suppose Chaz is entering these sort of fantastical sort of, circumstances, and his eyebrow is arched, and whereas for Constantine, that's every day, sort of, these things appearing and these specters coming up, whereas Chaz is our audience, as you say, you know?
Yeah, also, if you've seen the first 5-minute versions, basically you see they haven't seen each other in probably like 18 years, so obviously they're just getting back together again because of the dilemma of Chaz's daughter that he has to help.
Yeah.
So Rachel.
Yes.
You did the voice of Wonder Woman on Butch's show as well, correct?
Yes, I play Wonder Woman in Justice League Action, now out on Hulu. And she's a tiny bit more wholesome than what I get to do.
Yeah, a little bit. You want to talk a little bit about the character that you play in Constantine?
Sure, I play Angela, the spirit of Los Angeles. Can I say that?
Yes, yeah, you can say it.
It's right there in the name, which is nice. And she's held on to all of the slights and also the heroic moments of that city, but she's really, as this kind of demon, held on to those dark moments. And when Constantine needs some insight and needs some help, she's there to point him in the direction that he needs to go. But she doesn't do it with her fingers?
No, she does not. Do you want to talk a little bit about that? Because Angela and Constantine, as written, they have some, let's say, steamy scenes together, which you guys might have not seen yet, but you want to talk a little about doing that VO session?
There's a real freedom when your target audience isn't 9. It was a lot of fun to see faces on the other side of the glass as we were recording going, oh, you can do that too? That's not kid appropriate at all. There's a bathroom and a bar and a costume that's, you guys, I'm really hot in this movie. like super hot. Thanks for that.
Yeah, you got it.
What was really great is that I was also super pregnant while recording it. So there's this hot and heavy, you know, heavy breathing happening, and in between they'd be like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I just have to catch my breath for real. Just hold on, I'll be right there."
Things just got filthy up here.
It was pretty exciting. It was the photos from that day are pretty hilarious, but the scene is pretty sexy.
It's a
good time.
great scene.
And, you know, Angela's the one main character in here that isn't from the comics.
That's right.
An original character. We adapted this from a graphic novel called All His Engines, but it's a very loose adaptation.
Guys familiar with that?
Mike
graphic
Carey
novel?
and Leonardo Manco, go out and read it. It's a great graphic
That's great.
novel. But we changed a lot and we built out. And there was one little line in the graphic novel where Constantine is walking through Los Angeles, and he said, "And I could feel the eyes of the city on me." And I thought, wow, you know, what if that's literally true? It's never referred to again, you know? And I thought, let's have the embodiment of the city. And that's where the character came from.
Yep. That's cool. It's a great moment, too. And she comes when Constantine is particularly needs her.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Another clip or what, team? All right. So this clip is called Hellhounds, and I don't think anybody's seen this before. This is not in the CW Seed streaming release. So this is a big scene between Chaz and Constantine. So Josh, wherever you are, whoever you are, you want to roll that clip? This is, I mean, it looks so great. Does it not look fantastic? It's an amazing looking movie. And this is personally why I have always loved animation, why it's my job, is the mixture of words and pictures. One needs the other. No, one is not greater than the other. And this movie it's a great film, and we're all super proud. We were just talking backstage of how proud we all are to be a part of this. So, Phil, when you're doing these character designs, like specifically Constantine, because it looks like Matt,
right?
But you don't want it to be a caricature at the same time of Matt. How do you do that? What is your process?
Well, I cover my office walls in his set photos.
That's not weird at all, Phil.
I built a little shrine to Matt Ryan.
Okay.
Thing is, I already had the pictures, so
Right, yeah.
it was, you know.
I get it.
No, but it's, you know, with that character, I mean, sometimes you're taking a character and it's the existing, like, interpretation from the comic books, it needs an update, or it needs to be punched up, or nobody's touched it in 30 years or something like that. But with this character, he's been so grounded and so kind of perfect from the jump that it's pretty much a one-to-one from what it looks like in the comics.
Right.
So the same influences and the same inspirations that I'm taking from the comics, the CW team, the live action guys are looking at that same stuff. And so they nailed the look with Matt, and I'm looking at that same reference. So he's not a character that you need to interpret too much. He's like a disheveled, like, incredibly, you know, sort of charming rogue character and in a trench coat who's smoking and drinking all the time.
Right.
It's not something that you have to, it's very intuitive. So a lot of times I do really like to get in and redesign and punch things up and modernize. The trick there is to not lose the essence of the character. The trick there is to be faithful and reverent and respectful and not break it while you're updating it. But with Constantine, it's a perfect archetype from the jump, so you don't really have to do much. It's like, that's when your job is almost the easiest.
Right.
And you know, Matt looks just like Constantine. I mean, he just does. It's like, I think there's a couple of really, really perfect casting choices in superhero movies like Robert Downey and Iron Man, but Matt and Constantine is perfect casting. When I remember the ads were coming out for the TV series when I was writing the Justice League Dark comic book, and I looked at the ad on the back, and it could flip into the comic, and it's like the same guy.
Yeah.
You know, so it's really perfect casting, and he does such an amazing job.
Yeah, the visual of that character was, you know, perfect from the get, which is why you don't see a lot of variation in its various interpretations throughout media.
Right. And Butch,
Oh.
That's a choice.
Did he play Constantine?
yeah. Who?
He's a good actor.
I don't know what they're talking about.
And Butch, the overall look.
Next.
You want to talk about that? Now, the other thing I'll say, too, is you see him smoking, right? You see Constantine smoking. You don't know how hard we had to push and argue to make sure that stayed in the film. Because nowadays, people frown. He's not vaping, gang.
They're herbal cigarettes, though, yeah?
Yeah, herbal cigarette. That's
They're
right.
herbal cigarettes.
Yeah. They're vegan cigarettes. Yeah. But the overall look of the film, Butch, it doesn't look like any of the films that we usually do in the palette, in the effects, and everything else. Do you want to talk a little bit about that, or?
So, I mean, to me, it kind of does, but if you guys say,
Boy,
oh, but okay.
way to just pull the rug out
just
from
go
under you
with
there.
Oh, yeah, you're right. It doesn't look like the other. The main part is what we were doing in the storyboards and directing Doug Murphy, who also directed Scooby-Doo, by the way. We were actually just going ahead with the script as written, but adding more violence and blood and guts and, you know, things being torn apart. And we were waiting, even the smoking. We said, just go for it. Let him smoke as much on camera as you can get, and let's see what kickback we get back. Now, I didn't know what Peter was fighting against because I never heard about it, but obviously he was stopping whatever the forces were from us from pulling back from the action and violence and blood and sex and whatever it's in there. Because specifically, we weren't told that it was supposed to be R-rated. We just kept going. I told the crew, just do whatever you want to do, as gory as you want to get, and let's see where these guys hold back on us. So based on that, it's got a particular feel and look on it, yeah.
All right, let's do one more clip. So this clip is called Mictlantecuhtli, which is, well, you'll see. But this is a good Chaz and Constantine. This is a good monster clip, too. So, Josh, you want to roll that clip? Good job. Can you say that name?
Pardon?
Mictlantecutli.
That bloody god, I think.
It's hard enough to spell it consistently, you know?
Yeah.
That's the advantage to what we do. Is it's always written right down in front of you.
Phonetically, too.
Thank
typically,
God.
Typically phonetically, yes. Yeah. All right, should we do some questions from the audience? I don't know, where else would the questions come from? Us? It's got to be the audience. Yes? All right, wow, excited.
Is there somebody out there?
Nobody?
Is there a mic set up, or are we just doing
Here we
hands?
go.
Okay. Looking.
Josh is the man with the clip rolling.
I know.
We got a hand over here.
There's a hand over here. Is there mics that we're handing out, or how are we doing this?
Over there, Peter.
Oh, there we go. Ooh, and a spotlight. How fancy.
By the way, there is a world premiere of this film tonight at the AMC Empire 25. I know some of you had tickets, but there may be some other tickets, so I would, if you guys are interested. All right, you want us, let's go here first, yes.
Dave.
Hey, Dave.
Hello.
Is there any chance of a Matt Ryan Constantine movie? Like an actual movie, not animated?
Huh.
Asking the animation.
Sorry. You work with what you got, you know? And second question, can we bring back the TV show?
No questions related to animation.
Yeah, I mean, the answer to both those questions is I don't know.
We make cartoons.
Yeah, we're in the cartoon unit. But I know, look, there was such fan love for the character that's why he started on Arrow and went to Legends, and that's why we're doing these films. So, yes, I mean, the more you guys love Constantine and Matt's version of Constantine, the more you'll see. Over there?
Hi, my name's Chris.
Hey, Chris.
If you could choose any character to work on another rated R animated movie, which would you choose?
Go, Butch.
Yeah, I guess Lobo. That's the winner right
J.M.?
Well, since Lobo was created by my good friend Keith Giffen, I'll say Lobo too.
Wow.
There we go.
Phil? Phil, you've drawn Lobo a bunch.
Yeah,
Is Lobo's Young Justice, or?
Yeah, we have Lobo. We have everybody in Young Justice.
Yeah, everybody's in Young Justice.
Yeah, I mean, I've drawn everybody, so I don't really care.
Great answer. Damian, Rachel, anything? DC Universe, rated R?
Well, I think Chaz needs his own movie after this.
There we go.
Yeah, nice.
The rated R cut.
I think there's a dark part of my heart that would just like to see what happens with a rated R Aquaman. I mean, what do those dolphins do?
The current Aquaman?
Always.
Okay, got it. I see where you're coming from. I get it. Right. Good job.
I'm into it.
I'm going to say rated R Ambush Bug.
There you go.
Also created by Keith Giffen.
Yes, another Keith Giffen. All right, over here.
Hi, I'm Sean. One thing that's nice about Constantine compared to other heroes is the whole magical and mystical aspect to him. I'm just wondering if there's a standout mystical or magical moment or spell in this movie.
Good question. J.M.?
There is, and I can't tell you what it is because it's the climax
Go see the
of
movie
the film.
tonight.
I will give you a hint that I lifted it right out of one of my Justice League Dark stories. But it's the whole heart and soul, the whole point that the end of the story turns on a very specific spell. And if I told you, I would ruin the whole movie for you. And it will break your heart, guaranteed.
Yeah, it is a pretty heavy moment. You know, it's interesting watching the film that we've done visual effects for years. You know, you do what we call Kirby Crackle, right? And there's explosions, and there's pyro, and there's all that stuff. But it's very recently that we've got into supernatural and those kind of effects. So we spent a long time working on that to try to figure out the right way to execute those.
Yeah, and I think that is the visual component to this film. Like, to me, the thing that stands out, to talk what you and Butch were talking about, was like the color palette really stands out, and the sort of magical effects and all that stuff is brilliant. So yeah.
Yeah, and we did get the effects back from overseas Korea, and they weren't good enough. So we had Marc Girardi, Peter's brother, and his crew. They plussed them up.
It really shows. I mean, it looks amazing.
Yeah.
So what is it like for you guys dealing with animators? Sorry for jumping in with a question. When you have
Wanna run
to
out
deal
there
with
in the audience?
animators that are all the way across the world.
Skype. Email.
Look, I mean, I don't know if the audience knows, but it's still the way, you know, animation for us hasn't really, the means of production has changed a lot. The way we do it hasn't. And, you know, Phil and Butch and J.M., we all do our work in Burbank. But then we take all that and send it to our overseas partners in Korea, and they will animate the whole, and, you know, it takes 8 months, 9 months for us to start to see footage sometimes, and then...
Yeah, the aspect that we control is basically pre-production and post-production, you know, and so we're guiding the project here, but the animation is done by brilliant animators in Seoul, and then, you know, we have to take all the disparate components and put it together, and that's when the final result you see is a collaboration between all the talent here and all of our partners in Seoul, Korea.
If you're interested more, I can get into some of the accounting later, too, if you guys want to.
My name is Ben, and I remember seeing in the CW of how we learned about what happened to Astra and Newcastle and all that stuff. Is there any chance we might see more of that stuff happening while John's helping Chaz rescue Trish?
Yes.
Yes. That's a big yes to that.
It's a very important part of the story.
Yes.
Hugely important part of the story.
Good question. Did anybody from Warner Brothers pay you to ask that question?
No, I was just curious.
Okay. Thanks, man.
You're welcome.
All will be revealed.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Eva. The question is, how gory and bloody do you think this movie is going to be from 1 to 10?
10.
Yeah.
This is not appropriate for you.
Yeah, I
Enjoy.
was going to say
You
that.
have to leave right now.
Who let this kid in?
That seems like a
You're gonna
parental
love it.
failure at
Your
this
parents
point.
shouldn't
Darren. I'm
let you
sorry.
watch
Is
it.
that why you couldn't show one of those clips?
Yeah, exactly. No, you'll enjoy the level of gore and blood and horror.
If it's
And
not
sex,
enough for
Rachel.
you, we're going to get you help.
I do want to stress that there's a really human, moving, emotional story underneath all that.
Yeah, there is.
It's not just a gore
And,
fest.
and Rachel's performance, too.
Of course.
That you should definitely not watch.
So, next.
Hi, my name is Christos. J.M., I'm a huge fan of your Spectre run. This is really epic. Can we see, is there any chance we're going to see Spectre versus Constantine? We can have like a Freddy Krueger super villain. You like Spectre.
Wow.
That's way above my pay grade. I don't make those decisions, you know, but I would love to see it. Working on the Spectre for those couple of years, one of my favorite gigs at DC that I've ever done, so thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, good question. I'd like to see that, too.
It's a very cool character.
Yeah.
It'd be awesome.
Yeah. Anybody else over there?
All right. Jonathan Moore asking, are we going to ever see Constantine maybe pick up the Fate mantle? I'm just saying.
Well, that's a good, I'll leave that there. That is a good question. You've done some stuff like that in Young Justice, right? There's been a few characters that
Yeah, I
have
mean,
picked
I
up the
guess
Dr.
it gets
Fate.
passed around, you know, based on whatever sort of, I don't know if there's a worthiness clause there or something, but I feel like those are distinctly different characters. I don't know that they would mix well, but then it's all about the story, you know? It's all about what kind of, you know, narrative we could weave around that. It could probably be pretty cool.
Have you ever written Dr. Fate, J.M.?
I wrote Dr. Fate for like 3 years, yeah.
Okay.
It's another great character.
Yeah.
Fantastic character with so much potential.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's more and more interest, and we feel it on our side too, in the more supernatural, kind of esoteric parts of the DCU. You know, you guys did the Justice League Dark film, which was very successful for us, both as a film and, you know, commercially. So there's a lot more interest in exploring that side.
And it allows you to get into other corners psychologically and metaphysically that you can't get into in superhero stories.
Right, and at least for me, those characters tend to be a little more vulnerable in a way, you know. So,
thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right, my name is Kenneth Beezer. How's it going, guys?
Hey.
Hey, hey.
I got basically a two-parter question. They're not at all related. The first one is, what are your personal favorite DC heroes, personally, individually? And the second one is, when coming up with the design for the demons, what did you guys pull from, or what did you pull from? whether it be like the comics specifically or just mythology, or where did it come from?
Damien, you got favorite DC characters besides Chaz?
It's hard to tell. I love Constantine basically myself because of the darkness in it, and because of the smoking, and because of the rough edges, and you can seem to get away with anything with him, you know. And it's the confliction is in the character, and the way he's such an anti-hero. I just really love that about that character myself, you know.
I mean, for me, it all goes back to Wonder Woman from the time that I was a tiny little kid, and it's a thank you. And it's a really good time to be a Wonder Woman fan. There's great writing out there in the comics. There's great writing in the movies that are coming. So for me, that's where I come back to over and over.
I guess I'm a big fan of a lot of the characters from Titans, Teen Titans. I like younger heroes because I like the vulnerability of those characters. I like that they're not perfect. I like that you're seeing them grow, and you're seeing sort of this, you know, imperfect, sort of unfinished being also dealing with having like, you know, the regular teenage stuff, but then also having this, like, you know, sort of fantastic component where they're super powered. That being said, I also like the really push stuff. Like, I love Jack Kirby's Fourth World, the Cosmic Odyssey component. It's like DC's, you know, space mythology, and I think that's really cool. So.
I'm glad you mentioned the Kirby stuff, because those are probably my favorite comics of all time. If you haven't read Kirby's Fourth World stuff, you are missing amazing work. And in terms of favorite characters, you know, between the animation and the comics, I've written 98% of these characters. So it's hard to pick. Yeah. But, you know, I love the icons. I love Superman and Batman, you know, because you grow up as a kid, and every kid loves Superman and Batman. But as a writer, I think I really prefer the supernatural characters for the very reasons we were talking about.
More places to go.
You know, Constantine, Spectre, Dr. Fate, Phantom Stranger. These are really fascinating characters that take you into all kinds of metaphysical and spiritual worlds.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm boring. Batman all day for me. Well, I wouldn't mind doing some of the lesser characters like Shade the Changing Man. Space Cabbie we did in Just League Action. It was appropriate for that type of show. But, you know, little characters like that go a long way for us.
I'm crazy for Kirby.
Yeah.
So I like Mr. Miracle, I like the Demon, I like any Fourth World.
That stuff is phenomenal.
Yeah, it's all amazing. Yeah. Is that answer your question?
Yeah, and the second one was the inspiration behind the demons.
Oh yeah, that sounds like a Phil.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like, so when I first started working on this world, it was actually for our Justice League Dark movie, which initially had a PG-13 rating, which is, I had drawn Constantine with a cigarette, and we had to lose the cigarette and all that stuff. We wanted to have him smoking in that movie, just so you guys know. But the demons, the initial inspiration, we were just trying to push it as far as we could, and so it was just trying to, like, nightmarish, you know, sort of Lovecraftian, you know, bizarre stuff. For this one, we have, like, specific cultural, you know, influences, like I think it's the Aztec or the Mayan, stuff like that. So yeah, we look at everything. I think, like I said before, when you have, like, these monstrous characters, you know, you pull inspiration from a lot of places, but the fun thing is there's no rules with characters like that. You just go into, like, the darkest kind of place that you can, and you can kind of find all these nightmarish, sort of subconscious nightmarish things. So yeah, we had a lot of fun with that.
But what I'd like to say as well, like, having watched the thing, they all seem to have different personalities as well. So it's not like one sort of nebulous monster type, which makes them more interesting, because some of them are sort of more funnier, or, you know, one's quieter or one's more, you know, loud, and, you know, so they're all different personalities. So they're not just a monster, like.
Absolutely, because you don't want everything to be occupying the same space.
No.
You know, you want to show that range, and it it adds like an inherent organic nature to the way we're telling
like
the story.
the Beirut character in this,
Right.
who's fantastic, and he's almost like a sort of theatrical,
sure,
sort of grand dame type of thing, like
I was thinking about Orson Welles, honestly.
Yes,
I was
exactly,
writing that
yeah.
Character.
Or an Olivier type thing, like that sort of the bigness of him, it's fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right on. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Matthew. My question is, going forward with any possible incarnations of Constantine, what are the odds of us seeing someone like Zatanna or Zatara? Or what would you want to do with those characters, possibly, going forward?
They do have a relationship starting in Dark, right?
Yeah, they had a long history and a love affair, and it's great fodder for
They're
drama.
a magical couple, guys.
That one kind of ended on a high note for them too, right? Like, didn't they? I can't remember exactly how we buttoned that up.
In
Dark.
Justice League Dark, I think it did. In the comics, it didn't end that well.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think at the end of that film, we kind of had something hinted at that they might. We'll see.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hey, my name is James Garcia, and
Hey.
are the demons gonna have like any like special powers or anything, like legions?
Oh.
Each, I mean, this, like you guys were saying, the big demons, Barul and Mekanta Kukli, and they have very specific, I can just rattle that off now, J.M. They have very specific powers. And then you saw the Hellhounds, so, yeah. And they each embody something different, like your character is a very specific kind of demon that's kind of the embodiment of Los Angeles in a way. So
I think one of the cool things about the demons in this is that they're each as grounded and unique as all of the human characters, and that's what you're going to see is that they're very specific. So the powers vary according to what their role is, not only in the story but in the world that's been created around them. So you're going to see a lot of interesting things.
Hi.
Hi. So I've never read the comics. I don't know about but on the Legends of Tomorrow TV show, they had Constantine be bi, and I was wondering if you're going to have representation like that going forward in the animated movies.
Yes, that is the character. He is pansexual, and that it doesn't include humans. That includes everything. Demons.
Omnisexual.
Interdimensionally fluid.
Well, there is a couple of scenes that aren't in the 5-minute versions that you do get an implied impression of that. So that is in the Blu-ray version.
Yes.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Paulo Perez Howard. I just have 2 questions. The first one is there any connection to the bigger DC universe in this movie? Kind of like the Justice League Dark. I know it's based off the show, but
It's connected to this. I think it's connected to the Vixen stuff, right? Or is it its own thing?
No, it's not. It's all connected. Yeah,
Right.
we've done this before
we do
with our
Freedom
partners,
Fighters and
our partners at CW,
Yes.
and with Home Entertainment to do these movies. Shorts into movies. Vixen. I don't know if you guys saw the Ray, Freedom Fighters, and the Ray. But yeah, it's all part of the one big universe. So yeah, I don't think we explicitly mentioned.
There's no plot point that hinges on something from one of the other stories.
But it is in continuity, yes.
So it is part of like the whole New 52-esque type.
No, it's not necessarily connected to the films as far as like the ones that James Tucker and I do.
Okay.
But to me, and James and I had a laugh about this, we kind of figure if anyone can cross, if anyone can cross those dimensional
I'm saying
barriers,
it now.
it's Constantine. Okay, it is, according to Peter.
That's what the boss says.
My other question is, are we going to see a Justice League Dark 2, or are we going to see like a more Swamp Thing-centric storyline?
Swamp Thing-centric, what a great sentence. Holy mackerel. We're discussing Justice League Dark.
Okay.
2, yes.
Cool. Thank you.
We're discussing.
Thank you.
Yeah. Over here again?
Who's
You
this?
dressed up as Constantine? Nice job, dude.
You look terrific.
Everybody look at Constantine.
You.
Nice job.
Where's the cigarette?
Hi, I'm John. I was wondering what type of Hellblazer stories you'd like to see in animated. It would be perfect for the screen.
Which other stories?
Yeah, what other Hellblazer stories?
Any other ideas, J.M.?
Yeah, but because what I would like to do hinges on this film and things they haven't seen yet, I don't want to say.
Yes. But we love this movie and this character. And again, it lets us all explore things, you know, that we don't really get to explore in some of the other, like, full canon, you know, the big 7 Justice League kind of films. So yes, we'd love to do more, and there are things that, are, like J.M. said, hinge on this film that we'd like to keep exploring.
Yeah, most of this is based on 2 or 3 Hellblazer incidents, so that would carry on if we continued with these.
Right.
It's more of an origin story.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Well, let's go here, yeah.
Hi, my name is Bryce Jones.
Hey, Bryce.
And I had a question. So for the movie, how did you go about casting for the voiceovers? And do you ever look for new talent?
Is this an audition right now? You have a very good voice, my friend. So.
Got a resume?
Okay.
Hey, I can send my resume in next time.
Well, look, we work with very talented, very knowledgeable casting directors, you know, so you might know Andrea Romano and people like that. So, but, you know, we've worked with both Rachel and Damian before, so we knew. And, you know, I think a lot of times, I don't know about you, Phil, but a lot of times when we're thinking of these characters, we already have the kind of, at least I do, have the voice in mind and the kind of performance that we're looking for. So were you going to say something?
Yeah, Wes Gleason, he's our voice director, so he's been doing a lot of these DTVs for years now, and he knows a lot of the actors, and he gets auditions for us. And then we go through them and figure out, okay, that guy would fit this. And he takes reels all the time if you guys want to send something to him.
Well, what I do want to say is that this is not my first project with Warner Brothers Animation, but I did have a first one time. And so there is room for new voices and new talent and new people to come in. And I'm very grateful to Butch and to Wes for listening to new voices, because that's how I got my first job. And now I'm really happy that they just came back to me for another one.
Well, and the truth is, we all had a first job. I mean, you know, like, everybody working on these properties, it's a stewardship. Like, we contribute to a legacy, but we didn't create the characters. We don't own them. We're just participating in this tradition. So there's always going to be new voices that are then going to inherit that from us and from the other creative people that contribute to this medium and to these characters.
So if this is something that you love and this is something you want to do, keep going. There is space for you. There is room for you, and you should keep heading in that direction.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
I just want to say also, just the voice work in this movie is consistently amazing, I thought. I mean, just the performances uniformly are just great. I was so impressed.
Yeah, that's thanks to Wes Gleason again. He isn't here, but I'm sure he'll be happy for me to mention
Wes
his name.
did a great job. And I mean, I particularly, the first thing, because we see these in early versions that we call animatics, which are just very rough sketches that are kind of timed out after you do the initial record. And you could already see the performances. And Damien, you and Matt's friendship and the tension that it starts out at, and how you start to become familiar and your friendship starts to build again. It was all there, even when it was very skeletal drawings. That performance was there, which is the beating heart of the project, really.
Yeah,
so.
I know. Well, coming from, I sort of came late to animation and voiceover work, and there was a tendency from myself at the start to maybe try and be a bit bigger and maybe a bit cartoonish or something. Overly, because especially in the early sort of forms, as you say, like you sometimes you don't have the animation.
Right.
So you think, okay, I'm going to sort of overemphasize, and I'm going to. But the wonderful thing about, you know, and thanks to Wes as well, like, you know, he was saying, no, just act it, just play it truth, because it's almost like a different sort of format now from the sort of cartoons we grew up with, when everything was sort of Looney Tunes and whatever, like, you know, and everything was so big. And
He's really old. He grew up on Looney Tunes the first time around.
The rebrand.
Yeah, the rebrand.
Theatrical version.
And then watching it back, you know, and it allows you to sort of breathe and to sort of to take the sort of time that you would in a normal conversation. And I think, actually pays off with all the fantastical stuff, because then it's actually grounded, in something, you know? It's
we're
grounded in
trying to create believable worlds, so everything has to complement that.
Yeah.
And the voice acting, and we've always been really fortunate to, again, like Peter said, work with brilliant casting directors, but then get some of the best talent in the industry to bring these like characters in these roles to life. I mean, I think across the board on all the projects that I've been involved with, we've had such phenomenal voice talent involved that it's a huge part of the success of these features and the TV shows.
I mean, we were just with Kevin Conroy backstage, and anytime you hear Kevin, it's like, that is, that's Batman.
He's Batman to so many people,
Even when he's like, hey, can you pass me the sugar? I'm like, holy shit, Batman asked me. So, yeah.
Eating his avocado toast,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Hello, so I'm John, and I just got 2 quick questions. Number 1, I noticed that in the comics, one of the things we tend to see is that hell is very factionalistic, with a lot of like the bigger demons all being very rivals and fighting with each other. Are we ever going to get some sort of Game of Thrones in hell? And second question, is there any way to still get into the premiere for this movie at 7?
Oh boy, I'll find out about that. Hold on your second question. But yeah, J.M., you want to talk about that a little bit? Because it does between Barul and you get
Oh yeah,
a
this
little bit
in a way, this movie is sort of a Game of Thrones in hell, because there's a whole group of demons that are all fighting for dominance for these. Oh, it's already been set up, so I can say, for these franchises. They're franchising hell in Los Angeles.
Right.
And so there is a group of 5 demons over there, and then there's Barul over there, and they're all trying to outmaneuver each other to win the the McDonald franchise of hell. So you get a lot of that in this movie.
You get a lot
and Constantine is in the middle of all this, playing everybody off against each other.
He's like the agent, isn't he? The middleman.
Yeah.
Yeah, and those scenes were too violent to show here, so those are in the extra footage.
Yeah, they are insanely well executed horror animation, yeah. I'll try to find out for you about the other question. We're getting down to it here.
Hi, my name is Susanna.
Hi.
Hi. I'm wondering if the movie is going to come to Netflix to Europe, or are you just going to sell it on on Blu-ray?
That's another good question. Did the other ones make it? I don't. We have this DC Universe. I don't know if you guys have heard of our new streaming service, DC Universe. So I have a feeling that these might end up probably on the DC Universe service when the
Europe,
service
would
goes.
it be the same, or?
I think, some of the stuff goes to Netflix, but there are plans to make the service bigger.
Okay.
Because you used to have Flash and Supergirl and Legends of Tomorrow. Then they took away Legends of Tomorrow. We got no Vixen, no Teen Titans, and now we wanted Constantine, and maybe no Constantine made it, so.
Okay. I'm going to try. I will find out about that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, because you're probably not the last person that's going to ask that question. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. Hey, how are you? I'm Michael.
Hey.
I know most of the movies are like 70, 72 minutes or so. Are we ever going to get like a 2-hour long or 2.5-hour long epic story?
Well, this one is actually significantly longer. This is a 90-minute movie because we do have, even there's 18 or so, 19 minutes that will never be released unless you get the film, which, by the way, is coming out October 9th. So you should all get up really early on October 9th and line up to buy this movie. And I think we've all remarked on how great it was to have that additional 10, 15 minutes to tell the story. Even some of the directors at Warner Brothers Animation that didn't work on this, like James Tucker and Bruce Timm, had remarked, like, wow, that story really unfolds because we have that additional time. So that, I think, is something that we're going to be looking at moving forward.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Well, no more questions. So I'd like to thank the panel here. Thank you all.
Thank you,
everybody.
And thank you guys. Those are great questions. Thank you. And again, October 9th, the Blu-ray will be out, so please go pick it up, and we hope to see you again for the next time we're here. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Hi,
I'm Jackie Jennings with SYFY WIRE. If you can't get enough of New York Comic Con, go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel for news, interviews, cosplay, and so much more. What are you waiting for?